What up, B Squad? It's me, JB, and I am here today with a brand new review for Baddies USA. This is season number 8, episode number 9. This episode was titled Windy City Welcome. So, before I do get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and you're not subscribed yet, I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and also by turning on your post notifications. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and discuss this episode of Baddies USA, shall we? All right, so this episode, it was a okay episode. Not a lot. I mean, there was a lot that happened, but not a lot happened at the same time. So we're having two different scenes in this episode. So we started in Chicago, and then we had a scene in Milan, right? Because you guys know Scotty and Jayla went to Milan for work with Lenny. So we're in Chicago, and so we see Suki and Sapphire as they're having a conversation with each other, and they're basically talking about what happened at the performance with with the fight between Gretchen and with Suki, right? And so Suki is once again saying that it's because Gretchen was saying nigga, and also the fact that she called her a bitch. Is Suki wrong for doing what she did to Gretchen? I mean, you shouldn't put your hands on people, but I mean, if someone tells you, "Hey, don't call me out my name," listen to what this person says and respect what the person is saying to you. So I'm not really truly upset with Suki for putting her hands on Gretchen. I did think that Sapphire was just doing the absolute most with trying to get to the girl. That's the only thing. Also, what I'm gonna say is I think that some of these girls are completely weird, in my personal opinion, when it comes to this whole Gretchen saying nigga and all that kind of stuff, and we'll definitely discuss it once I get to that point. But I think some of them are just complete weirdos. And one person that came up in this conversation was Tavy, right? Now I know that people will say, "Oh, people do," non-black people in New York do say nigga, and people don't have an issue with it. That's fine, but that's not how it is in the rest of the world. Like, I don't allow people that are not black to call me a nigga. Like, I will check that and immediately. Like, if you ain't black, if you ain't black, number one, do not call me out. Do not call me no nigga. I don't care who you were raised around. Don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Like, don't do it to me personally, right? So then we see Lex and Dolly as they're having a conversation with each other, right? So they're talking about the performance as well. And what I will say about Dolly, even though Dolly is like not my favorite person, I have to give kudos to Dolly for going through with that stuff. And then people saying fuck Dolly, and she ate that, and she was still able to do her thing. Like, I don't have, again, Dolly is not my favorite person, but I can give respect where respect is due. And she handled that the best way she could, right? She still continued to perform. So now Dolly is talking about the fact that the issue with her is that they are, having issues with Summer, and how they feel like the big three is falling apart, which absolutely the big three is falling apart. But I mean, I think that that was inevitable from the jump that the big three were going to fall apart. But hey, it is what it is, right? So they both feel like when it comes down to Summer, that Summer doesn't want to talk to them, but instead she just wants to drag things out. And I can see that as well. Because I mean, going back to last week's episode, when Summer was having a conversation with Rolly, she's having a conversation with Rolly about Lex and Dolly, but she's not actually having a conversation with Lex and Dolly. So I'll give her that, right? So then after that scene, we move over to Italy with Jayla and Scotty, right? So their scene was pretty boring, if I'm being honest with you, because Scotty ain't doing nothing, Lex ain't doing nothing. So I just didn't understand the purpose of the conversation. But they did talk about the fact that this season, Scotty is taking a step back. I was like, she ain't had no choice but to because she's pregnant. So what did y'all expect for her to do? But hey, it is what it is, right? So they're talking about the issues in the house with the girls. You know, Scotty is talking about how she's cool with Fauna and both Cold Killer, right? And how the stuff with Cold Killer, Fauna, and Nunu. Let me tell you this, Scotty, that ain't got nothing to do with you because you're not going to be. Let me say this also to you, Scotty. Don't get yourself involved in stuff because you're not going to be pregnant forever. Like, you're eventually going to give birth. And so once you give birth, old beefs can be reignited. Just want to let you know that, Scotty. But hey, it is what it is, right? So then we move back to Chicago. So Rolly is having a conversation. She went to go to Tinka's room, and she's having a conversation with Tinka about this whole situation with the performance last night. How some girls were getting booed, and how she heard the crowd saying Dolly, but she didn't realize that the crowd was saying fuck Dolly, right? So she feels like maybe at this point going forward that some girls probably shouldn't necessarily be performing on the stage if the crowd is going to react that way. And I was like, that, I mean, the only person that I think y'all should really take a look at is fucking Gretchen. Like, y'all can't be like, y'all not gonna be going to different cities and having this girl get on stage and continuously drop the and continuously say nigga. Like, I think that's the only person. Yes, I know people don't like Dolly, Summer, and Lex, but let the crowd boo because they booed those three. They booed Dolly, they booed Lex, they booed Summer, and they booed Nunu, right? And they threw something at Gretch. That is your problem right there. Just get Gretchen off the fucking stage. If you're getting Gretchen off the stage, I think y'all will be fine, in my personal opinion. But feel free to let me know what you think, right? So Rolly suggested that they call up Natalie, right? So they called Natalie up. Natalie was getting ready to go to the burial site for her security guard, right? And so they're talking about it as well. And Natalie also feels like Rolly should, once they get to the house, that they should have a house meeting, right? And you just basically talk things out. And she's on the same page with Rolly that maybe some of the girls shouldn't be on stage. Now, Tinka, you're a weirdo because you're sitting here trying to justify the fact that Gretchen says nigga. There's no justification for her saying it. You talking about you don't think she's a racist. I don't think she's a racist, but why is she so hell bent and intent on saying the word? Like, that is my one thing that I just don't understand when it comes to non-black people. Why they want to say the word? Why they feel so? Like, what does it make? What does it do for you to say the word? Like, I never understand that. And I know sometimes non-black people who say it, they do it to try to incite, a reaction from black people. And I'm not saying that that's what Gretchen is doing, but I just still think it's weird that she just wants to say the word. And I also find it weird that people like Tinka is sitting here defending her. That shit is weird to me as well, right? Um, so that's that with that scene. So we move on. Now we see as Gretchen and Smiley, they met up with each other, right? And they talk about by the fountain and they talked about what happened. So Smiley feels that Gretchen should have a conversation with both Suki and Sapphire. I'm kind of with I might not like Gretchen and I may not agree with Gretchen, but in this particular moment, I absolutely did agree with Gretchen, right? Because Gretchen was like, nah, fuck that. Like she hit me, and so I want to get my lick back. And I'm like, I absolutely 100% understand that. Like, I'm not mad at that. I ain't mad at it at all. But what's her name is like, those are my friends. Well, girl, your friends put their hands on me. So they gonna have to see me at some point or another, right? So I'm not even mad. So they got a text message from Rolly telling them to come to the house, right? So they get ready to go to the house. Now we see as all the girls are getting on the bus, right? So Fauna was standing up in the seat, and you see as Smiley tried to go hug Fauna, but Fauna kind of moved her to the side because she saw Nunu, and so her and Nunu got to fighting with each other. I was like, damn. Now with that fight, I can't really say, oh yeah, Fauna got that one, or oh yeah, Nunu got that one. I'm not gonna sit here and say who won that fight. If you guys want to say who won the fight, who you think won the fight, feel free to leave it in the comments. I don't care, right? So then after that, Cold Killer and Nunu are going back and forth with each other, right? Because Cold Killer's like, you talking about you check my temperature, bitch. You talking about you check my temperature, bitch. You ain't check my temperature, bitch. Like you talking about you check my oh my, like I'm like, as much as I love Cold Killer, she was doing the most. Now, do I agree with Cold Killer? Do I think that Nunu checked her temperature? No. Because to me, if you're saying that you're checking my temperature, if you're trying to see what the issue, if there's any beef, if there's any issue, I would expect you to not just look at me and be like, oh, she ain't say nothing, or oh, he ain't say nothing to me, he or she ain't say nothing to me. What I'm gonna do is, if me and you were going back and forth on social media or anywhere, I'm gonna be like, what's up? You were talking shit behind my back, or you were talking shit in my comments, or you were talking shit in my DMs. So what's up? Like you need that from me? Like, is that what we're on? Like, are we gonna fight with each other? That's what I take as checking temperature, but I guess, what's her name? Nunu sees it as a different thing. So they arguing back and forth with each other, right? But then somehow Tavy got involved. And I was like, Tavy, why are you involved? Like, this has absolutely nothing to do with you, Tavy. Like, sit down and shut the fuck up. Like, Tavy was really getting on my nerves at that point, right? So then I really realized how ignorant some of these girls really are, right? I get that Tavy is from New York, and I get that Tavy, has been around people that say nigger, right? Non-black people. That's fine. If you don't have a problem with it, cool. But then for Tinker to sit here and say she sucked black dick, she fucked black dick, so she black. Girl, no the fuck she's not. That does not make her black because she sucks and fucks black dick. That is stupid. Now, I will say one thing that I did agree with. If it's an issue with her saying it, then it should be an issue for Mariah Lynn to say it. And I do have an issue with Mariah Lynn saying it. It should be an issue with Anna saying it. I do have an issue with Anna saying it. And they said Smiley says, since I don't know Smiley, I ain't never heard her say it, but I would have an issue with any of them saying it. So I agree with that point, right? But it's just and then they were like, Tinker's like, we as black people, we don't get offended by it. I'm like, excuse me, speak for yourself, because I absolutely do find it offensive when a non-black person says nigga. Like, you can be offended by somebody calling you a nigga, you can be offended by somebody calling you a bitch. Like, it is like Tinker's an idiot, a moron, an imbecile. Like, what you I'm guessing all that acne on your face has also gone to your, like, the dirt and the clogged pores are affecting your brain as well. Like, Tinker's such a dumbass, but moving on from that, right? So then Lex is calling out Tavy, right? Because Lex is saying that Tavy is, which he said this to Dolly earlier, which I forgot to mention. But Lex is saying that Tavy is on social media speaking about her, right? So Lex just wants to confront Tavy and ask her, like, girl, why are you talking about me? I've not, after I fought you, that was it, and I've left it alone. I don't have no beef with you. So what the fuck are you talking about me for, right? So Lex and Tavy are arguing back and forth with each other, and then Summer eventually chimed in, right? And Lex was like, Summer, you don't know what the fuck you talking about. You weren't there, so shut the fuck up, right? So then that ended, and then Lex and Tavy are still screaming and going back and forth with each other. And it's like, oh my God, like, y'all really sound stupid at this point. Like, I was just so confused by them. It made absolutely no sense to me what they were arguing about, because they just screaming over at each other at this point, right? So they eventually got to the house, right? And once again, we're having the conversation about Gretchen and Suki, right? About the fact that Gretchen is saying nigga, the fact that Gretchen called Suki a bitch. Now, I'm not defending Gretchen, but when she calls Suki a bitch, I don't think she meant it in a malicious way. But at the same time, Suki did say, "Do not call me a bitch." So when the girl said, "Don't call me a bitch," then listen to what she's saying and stop calling her out her name, right? So then they also talk about this whole situation with Nunu and Fauna and Cold Killer again, right? Honestly, I'm over that one too. And I found out that the reason that they are going back and forth with each other is because I guess the fans compared Nunu and K Regan each other. Like that is so stupid. So y'all are arguing because one was compared to the other. That's dumb. But hey, whatever. So Tavy walked outside, right? Lex was outside. Tavy decides to have a conversation with Lex again, trying to figure out what's going on. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, please do not fight because I am so sick of Tavy and Lex, just like I was sick of Tavy, not Tavy, but Lex and Fauna. I don't want to see those three fight ever again, right? So we get back in the house. So the other girls make it to the house, right? And Gretchen's with the in that group of girls. So Gretchen, when she got in, what I will say is I got to give the girl credit because she had heart to swing on both. Well, she swung on Sapphire, so her and Sapphire get to fighting, and Suki jumps in. So somebody, I guess a ring must have hit her in the back of the neck and cut her. So the girls are freaking out because she's bleeding. Right? They were like, "Somebody's who tried to cut her? Who tried to cut her? Who tried to cut her?" And this is Tinka. I was like, "Girl, if you don't sit down and calm down." I'm like, I don't think anybody tried to cut her. I think she got a cut from somebody's jewelry, but whatever, right? So they all freaking out and mad and going off and talking about you tried to jump her. You tried to jump her. Y'all ain't say nothing about jumping last season when it was being done to Cold Killer, K Rican, and Cold Killer. If y'all didn't like, and I was with Suki, if y'all ain't had nothing to say about it before now, shut the fuck up. I was actually with Suki, right? So back outside with Tavy and Lex, they still talking, right? And so Tavy is telling Lex to fight, if you want to fight me, fight me. And Lex, like, I'm not on that with you, Tavy. Like, I don't want to fight you. So Tavy swung on Lex, and all she did, and from what I could see, was take Lex's wig off. And then they were fighting, but none of Tavy's hits were connecting, in my opinion, to Lex, right? So then they get Tavy fell on the ground. I was like, oh my God, girl. And Lex was just handling that ass again. I was like, Tavy, you look so stupid because Lex really didn't want to fight you, but you swung on her and she ended up whooping your ass once again. Dumb as hell, right? So then back in the house, Nunu and Coke Hilla fight each other again. Now this one, I don't know who won because they both were swinging all wild like and shit. So can't really say who won that fight. And then the last fight we get to is Gretchen and Sukiana. And from how it looked like Gretchen was giving it to Sukiana. And then you hear Biggie's ass talking about Suki, Suki, Suki. I'm like, if Biggie don't shut the fuck up, Biggie gets on my nerves at times. But that's the episode. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments below. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Share the video. And until next time, do me a solid favor. Stay safe, you guys. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.